Welcome to This Explainer. If you're listening to this right now, chances are you've got hundreds of contacts living right there in your pocket. You probably have group chats that are just buzzing constantly throughout the day, a stream of notifications from people who genuinely care about you, and maybe even some AI apps designed specifically to keep you connected, to just listen whenever you need to talk. We have literally never been more reachable. We've never been more visible or more accessible.
And yet, somehow, you have never felt lonelier. Let that sink in for a moment. Just take a breath with it, because it's a profound reality that so many of us are quietly sharing right now.
Here we are in 2026, and the World Health Organization has officially declared loneliness a global health crisis. The American Psychological Association even named it the #1 psychological trend of the year. To put that into perspective, despite having unprecedented digital connection, people across literally every age group are reporting the deepest loneliness ever measured. So I want to reassure you right from the start, something is happening right now that no previous generation has ever had to navigate. Your distress, it's a completely predictable response to a fundamentally changed world. It is not a personal failing.
Section 1, the diagnosis, contact versus connection. Okay, let's dive into this. To really understand what's happening, we need to shift the blame entirely away from your character and instead take a hard look at the medium itself. We kind of need to redefine what we're currently calling digital connection.
See, what we usually call connection today is, it's actually mostly just contact. Contact is that surface-level exchange of attention at scale. The messages, the likes, the brief little acknowledgments. You can have contact with hundreds of people in a single afternoon. But connection is an entirely different beast. It requires attention without distraction, vulnerability without performance, time without an agenda, and physical proximity without a screen getting in the way. Researcher Dr. Vivek Murthy, the former U.S. Surgeon General, hit the nail on the head when he identified the connection paradox. He found that the more digital contact a person has, the lonelier they actually tend to feel. Why? Because contact without connection creates this mirage of intimacy, but it completely lacks the actual physiological nourishment our bodies need to survive.
We are starving on a diet of contact while believing we are eating connection. When you consider that your nervous system was designed by hundreds of thousands of years of evolution to register the physical, regulated presence of another human being, you start to see exactly why an influx of text messages and video calls still leaves you feeling so incredibly empty. Section 2, the nervous system's reality. It's absolutely crucial to understand why this digital mismatch doesn't hit everybody the exact same way, and why it hurts specific types of people so much more intensely. If you've been feeling this invisible, heavy internal struggle, there is a very real biological reason for it. Now, consider the concept of high attunement. This refers to individuals who are deeply empathic, emotionally sensitive, and just highly perceptive. If this sounds like you, your nervous system was basically built to read subtle emotional signals. We're talking micro-expressions on faces, the rhythm of someone's breathing, the subtle energy in a voice, tiny shifts in posture. In real human contact, your highly attuned system unconsciously processes hundreds of these micro-signals per minute. And doing that, that's what actually creates the physiological feeling of being truly safe and connected with another person.
But let's look at what happens when we strip those signals away. A text message gives you words, sure, but no breath, no body. A voice note gives you tone, but no physical presence. Even a video call, it flattens everything into these thin, abstract signals. For a highly sensitive person, this stripped-down digital communication causes a very specific, very profound kind of exhaustion. You can spend hours talking to people you love and walk away feeling completely depleted. Why? Because your highly attuned system is performing all the heavy lifting and work of connection, but it's not receiving any of the actual physiological nourishment in return. It's like a car revving its engine with no gas in the tank.
Section 3, the modern complications, AI companions. As we navigate the complexities of 2026, we are living a reality no previous generation has ever faced. We now have tens of millions of people maintaining daily, ongoing relationships with AI apps, AI therapists, and AI romantic partners that are programmed to be endlessly available and just perfectly patient. The psychological research emerging around this is complex, and it's really important we approach both sides of it with an open mind and very careful nuance.
And this brilliantly illustrates the AI paradox we're currently grappling with. On one hand, for people in acute crisis or severe isolation, AI companions genuinely provide short-term relief. There is measurable distress reduction. It really does help in those moments. But on the flip side, researchers are warning us about a long-term cost. If you use AI as a substitute for human connection, relying on an entity that is literally programmed to never, ever disappoint you, well, it quietly erodes your tolerance for the natural friction of real human relationships. You stop building human connection skills, and instead, you practice in an environment where all the difficulty has been artificially removed. The loneliness doesn't go away, it gets harder to address. And the quiet tragedy here is that when you spend hundreds of hours with an artificial companion that never has its own needs, well, real humans, with all of our messy, inconvenient emotions and occasional unavailability, we eventually start to feel disappointing by comparison. So the crucial point here brings us to psychologist Dr. Sherry Turkle's concept of ambient awareness. This is that constant low-level knowledge of other people's lives without ever actually being part of them. You know the feeling. For most of human history, absence created space, space created longing, and longing, well, that's what made reunions deeply meaningful. But today, you're never genuinely absent. You're permanently watching these fragmented feeds of people you aren't living with in real time. You feel close enough to register their absence as a kind of grief, but distant enough that you can't satisfy the longing through actual contact. Honestly, it is psychologically exhausting. Your loneliness is not a flaw in your character. It is your nervous system's correct response to an environment it was never designed to navigate. I really, really want you to hear that. Take a deep breath and give yourself permission, right now, to stop blaming yourself. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are simply trying to metabolize a level of digital noise your biology was never built for. Section 4. The prescription, what actually works. Now, the research on how to cure this modern exhaustion is incredibly clear, even if the solutions are a little uncomfortable and require, resisting the path of least resistance. Because at this point, everything else just adds more contact without adding connection. So there are 3 evidence-based steps to slow down and rebuild. First, protected deep connection. Focus entirely on quality. Just 2 hours with one person where you are fully deeply present is infinitely more nourishing than 12 hours of fragmented texting. Identify the small handful of people who feel like real connection and protect that intimate time fiercely. Second, weak tie investment. And this one is so deeply hopeful. Small, brief interactions with neighbors, shopkeepers, or the barista at your coffee shop, these provide a measurable instant psychological boost to your nervous system. Your body actually registers being recognized in the physical world as a deep form of belonging. And third, phone-free presence. Look, when you are with someone you care about, the device must be fully put away. Not face down on the table, away. Researchers call it the mere presence effect. Even just seeing a phone visible on a table actively reduces the depth and empathy of your conversation. Your connection is worth protecting. You are not failing at modern life. The path forward is not more apps or better algorithms. The path forward is the slow, deliberate rebuilding of real presence, real time, and real attention with real people, including all the beautiful, messy friction that comes with them. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. I hope you can give yourself some real grace today. And if you let yourself imagine that real connection, please know that it is entirely possible to find your way back to it. So I'll leave you with this final, vital thought to reflect on. What does your loneliness feel like? And what would a real connection look like for you?